Chainburger, oh hell yeah, Subaversary.
Hello, friends. How's it going? How are we doing? Mr. Paul, Stars, hello. Anyone else who may be here lurking? Welcome. You know how yesterday I said I probably wasn't gonna play more Dragon's Dogma 2 because like that's a me game. That's a game that I'm playing on my time, and I'm enjoying that. I lied. I fibbed a little. We are playing that today. Only because I am super motivated to stream today. And I have enough energy to stream. But I officially assumed the role that I was promoted to today. And I talked so much. I talked so much during work. Cause I'm a trainer now, and that's really exciting. But I talked so much, and playing more Sly didn't sound like a super duper fun time to me at the moment, and I was just gonna play Dragon's Dogma all evening on, like, by myself anyway, and I was like, well, why not do that on stream and chat with my friends a little bit? Continue talking, so that maybe I can just get used to talking for hours on end. No, it wasn't. It shouldn't be, there shouldn't be as much talking as there was today, because today was just like a general overview, but it was a lot. Thank you. Thanks. I'm very excited, and just generally, like, obviously I wouldn't have accepted it had I, like, you know, felt like I wasn't capable. I'm capable, and I'm stoked to be doing it. But yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot for a Monday. But it's going well so far. But yeah. So we are gonna do a little more Dragon's Dogma 2. Yeah, I am. I'm so dang capable. And you know what? So are you. Hey. Hey. I'm real proud of you, Stars. Genuinely. I'm very excited for you and proud of you, and like, you're also doing the things. You're getting it done, and that's awesome. And you know what? I assume everyone else in chat is also getting the things done and doing the things. And if they're not, it's because you're probably taking a break because you really need that. And you know what? That's okay too. You're doing that. You're taking that break so dang good. Yeah, I'm proud of all of us. Look at all of us. We are adults and we are surviving, and like, you can't say that much all the time. So you know what? I'm proud of you for doing whatever it is that you're doing. Be it taking a break and resting, or getting the things done. Just doing your day-to-day stuff. Hey, you got out of bed today. That's pretty cool. Hey, if you didn't get out of bed today and you're just still laying there, I'm glad you're getting rest. Yeah. Yeah. I'm feeling very silly, feeling very sentimental. Generally just real happy with things right now, and I just want to share that with my friends. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're an adult. You've survived 36 years. Nothing can stop you. It's true. No, like I realize that this might I tend to have my tone tends to sound sarcastic regardless of how I say a thing. This is a genuine, like, I am freaking proud of y'all. And I'm glad that you're here, and I'm glad that you're doing your thing, and I'm glad that you're getting the stuff done. Again, even if that's just existing today. Hey, I'm proud of you for existing, and I'm happy that you're existing. So hold on. Yeah, that's how I'm feeling today. Y'all want to play some silly video game? Do y'all want to see Gordman? Realizing that some of y'all may not have seen my beautiful boy Gordman. I am like 20 odd hours into this very silly video game that I have been enjoying so dang much. You don't really need to know what's happening. Other than
such an item in storage.
My sweet boy is here. Look at this sad cat. Look at him. He's very worried and concerned about everything that's happening all of the time. Someone gifted you a sub to the streamer you don't know, so now I have more emotes to play with. Those are very good, though. That orb is horrifying, and I love it. The Kermit's very good. The burger, though? I get paid tomorrow. Tomorrow's my payday, and I do plan on getting myself a burg, to just celebrate existing. Oh, the gnome. Oh no. Oh no. It's in chat now, and it's just staring.
Could be of import.
It couldn't hurt to take a peek.
Here's our boy. This is Gordman. He is very short. Also, Waluigi is here. Y'all know that, though. Y'all know Waluigi. Oh god, there he is. Oh no, there he is. Oh boy. He sure is there. Yeah, we gotta get a celebration board. It's important.
Few are privy to
It's
the
important.
goings-on in these forbidden magic research lab, even among the battalion.
Sometimes you just gotta treat yourself. I say
More,
he is familiar with me. I know
The
I
people not
made
question its
that.
existence.
All of
I
that.
should
From the
like to know more
character
about its
to
activities
the
if you will
emote,
me.
but I hate that emote. He's just staring into our souls, and it's very upsetting. But that's just what Waluigi do. I should not be playing around in these dye pits. Yeah. I mean, I say I'm gonna get a burg tomorrow. I don't know if I'm actually gonna get a burg. I'm gonna get something. I'm gonna get something. I'm gonna get some sort of food as a treat, because I deserve a treat. Burg is just what comes to mind and what I've been thinking about, but I've also been thinking about subs, and I love
materials here,
a sub.
Master.
Give me a
Can we
good
really
sub.
afford to carry more?
Can't use it anywhere but here because it costs so many.
As I recall, the location
Yeah,
of
and
the
like
is not far from.
like a lot of things involving our channel, there's just so much backstory, so much context that you have to give in order for it to make sense. I understand. I get it. Where is this? Do I need to? Why am I going there? I played a little bit of this last night. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, okay. I do know what I'm doing. No puns. This is for me and Fruity. Listen. This is I mean, it's got the crossed out bit behind it, but the pun is in front of it. So does that mean this is a pun friendly zone? Because it is. Let's go talk to the
When
blacksmith.
the mind is split, the heart must lead. Oh, so I've learned.
Cal Manus is just like, I got this, fam. Let me take you where you need to go. I do like that though. I really want to like rework some of my emotes, just like in general. Because I don't feel like there's enough chaos mixed in with my emotes at this time. And I would like for there to just be more absolute nonsense in there. Yeah,
perhaps this
yeah, I
sends
want some more
with the
silly
consequence,
emotes.
But when
I
was
like
an
had started
archer, I
making
thought myself a
some,
master of
and I
ranged
liked
combat.
them, and then I
Laughable, isn't it?
immediately
Person we seek isn't here.
stopped.
Perhaps we'd best come back later.
This
But
is the wrong time of day for what we have in mind. Best we set.
You're the one who brought that regalia sword.
Why is
here in
everyone
the
yelling
first
at me?
place, aye? Not a word.
I wanted to the Helen emote. That was a clock tower thing, wasn't it? Like I started making these ones, and I had like 2 others. I've just posted them. I realized that it cannot be seen on stream, but you can see them in chat. I started making those, and I really liked like making those. That was fun, but then I I made them, and I started a couple of others, and then was just like, I don't feel like it anymore, so I stopped doing it. But I think I just want more, like, silly images from video games. Just horrible things that we've created. Basically, what I'm saying is I want more gummies in our emotes. There needs to be more horrible gums in there. You love that one. I'm also a huge fan of the sweat one. I was just kind of like, as I've, like, looked at it more and as it's existed longer, I'm just kind of like, I do love the stare one, though. I'm very happy with that one. Also, stars. Thank you for the contribution to the gummy hunt. We're real dang close.
It's that fool apprentice of mine. I
what was
haven't
this
seen
man
her since
yelling
yesterday.
at me about? Also, while I'm thinking about it, grip it and rip it.
Knowing her, she skipped off to the mountain base cave on Volcanic
Yeah, more
Island
gummies.
to try her hand with a blaze
I
hammer.
might, I don't know. I've been feeling like making collages again, just like as my like, creative outlet thing that I do from time to time. I swap between that and like miniature figure painting, and like making videos. That's my rotation of like creative things to do for myself. And I've been wanting to make collages again, and I might do that with various gummies that we have located and make some new emotes that way, because that sounds horrible and I love it. So, if you have any specific emotions you would like for me to convey via gummy emotes, let me know. I got some in mind. I'm thinking of a few, and I got some ideas, but I'm also here for like the input. So
It's the only place with enough heat, see?
it sounded like I was thinking about it a little bit like yesterday. I was like, oh, this would like, I don't know if this would be worth it. I would think it was really funny, but I wasn't sure if anybody else would think it was as funny as I did. But I shouldn't have doubted. I should have known
You're
better.
The one who inspired this nonsense. You'd best go find
Wait,
her.
does this man have the same beard as me? Oh my god, twins! Can't really see it on Gordman, but we have the same style. Oh my god, where'd you get yours done?
Bring her back in one piece. Lest I wing my hammer against that hollow shell you call a skull.
Don't call it. Listen, just because there's not a single thought behind those eyes doesn't mean his skull is hollow. Just means he's worried. Listen, the only thought that's going on in here is concern. Okay, we have to find Sarah. I have to find this blacksmith because she's got a silly fake sword that I need to, like, prove to everyone that I am king. This one gives despair. Is happiness possible in gummies? Yeah, I think so. I can make it possible. It's not quite happy, but like that one's pretty like joyous. I don't know that I can say that with a straight face. I just need to find I can make eyebrows on that to help convey the excitement. It's certainly something. Yeah, it sure is something. Okay, where are we going? I'm going all the way down here. I've never been here before. Are we excited for a new adventure? Places that I've never seen?
Master, it would be prudent to rid yourself of any excess items.
Yeah,
Let's see.
so yeah,
What can we do without?
gummies. I think gummy emotes would be very funny. if not, like, I don't know that I'll, like, fill up all of the slots with gummy emotes, but I definitely want to, like, make a couple, because it feels like I haven't done anything with my emotes in a long time. Which isn't to say that you have to do stuff with your emotes all the time, but, like, I need them to be refreshed. You know? I need to make them a little more spiffy. I can't go through here.
We've no means of passing through here at present. Shall we seek an alternate route?
I am sorely disappointed.
Do y'all have like a suggestion? I guess I could go this way, huh? You can only just see the roads. Okay, yeah, we gotta go. Gotta go through the other thing. Yeah, it's fun to change it up. It's like, I don't know. It's like when you've lived in a space for long enough, and like you like how it feels. It's comfortable. It's cozy, but you just wanna wiggle the tchotchkes around a little bit. You just wanna make things look a little different, and so you gotta move your stuff around. Speaking of, I do have the plush collection. Is back where it needs to be, which is exciting because I can actually start putting my apartment back in order post pest control. Thank you, horrible upstairs neighbors. I hope I never see you again or hear you again. Specifically, I hope I never hear you again. So that's really exciting as well. I have a space I can live in again. And put my things back out. Hey! I got my kitchen back in order over the weekend, which was very nice. My dad helped me out with that a little bit. And it's nice to have space to cook again. I, like, didn't quite realize how much it was actually affecting me until yesterday when I made, like, a whole big, huge meal. And, like, did a bunch of stuff that I haven't been able to do for the last couple of weeks. I was very excited about it. And like today, I made some Spanish rice and some chicken, but it had like it's like a honey chili glaze on the chicken. It's really yummy. And it just sounded good. So I was like, I'm gonna put these things together, and did that, and it was tasty. And we made a whole bunch of spaghetti sauce over the weekend, and that was cool. It's just nice to have a space you can exist in. These gourds. Delicious, yummy stuff. But yeah, now I have like stuff to eat for the next couple of days that I don't have to like cook constantly. As fun as it is to cook, I don't have the energy to do it all the time. Oh god. It's fine. It's fine. I can kill guys and talk. Whoa. Fine. Yeah. Whoa, sir, you weren't there and then you were? Okay, I'm gonna back off because apparently that's a spawn point. I cook most of the week. But usually what I do is like I'll make like enough food for the next like 2, maybe 3 days. Cause like doing that like week-long meal prep does not work for me. A, that is too much cooking in a single session. And also I get weird about food sitting in my fridge for like more than a few days. Regardless of what it is, I just get weird about that. Yeah, and it's too much eating the same thing, honestly. And so it's like, nah, I'm just gonna like usually when I get like a craving for something or there's like a specific meal I want, I'm like more than okay eating that for like 2 days. So we have a nice, good, fun time with that. And then also I don't have to cook for like 2 days. But then in a couple of days, or even like the day after, it's like I can make a little bit more food and then have a couple of different things to choose from for a little bit. And that's exciting. You know, I'm realizing as I'm walking away from here. Oh, my party is getting killed. That's a thing I'm noticing. But I also had a quest that I needed to do for a man back in the town we were in. And it requires me giving him a fruit that has been ripened. And I think it takes like 3 days for a fruit to ripen, and I think, ouch, I'm right on the cusp of it getting ripe. And that's a bit of a problem. So I hope we can get where we're going fast enough so that if it does get ripe, I can just put it in a box. Like these lizards. They got rocks on their backs, and it makes them hard to hit. Also, I don't know what move this boy has, but he just keeps roaring. Listen! Pockets of rotten fruit happens so often. You don't even know. It's this. It's this quince. I need this quince to be ripe, but not rotten. Because the man says his eyesight's going bad, and he's like, I heard eating this fruit will make it better, and it's like, pretty sure that's not how that works, but,
beyond the rift, I came upon a cave whose secrets you have yet to discover.
You want me to go in there?
Shall I lead the way?
I don't want to go into a cave. I say as I rush towards the cave. Slash, I think I went into that cave. I don't know what Waluigi's talking about. I'm pretty sure I've been in there.
Feast your eyes on
Okay,
this.
it's fine. What is happening over there? That is a pig trying to scale a wall. Nice try, pig. Hi, Devo. Sorry, there's a little guy, and he's crying. And I love him a lot.
Remains of an ox cart.
Well, we'll pick up more
Fiends of
quinces.
this world hold nothing sacred.
Just in case the one goes
On your
wrong.
guard.
He is a precious baby. Do you want to see him? Come here. Hello. Hi. Here's the little meow. Here. Come say hello. Here's the baby. Can you say hi? No, because I have to lean into you. I have to snuggle. Say hi, Devo. He looks horrified, but I promise he's very happy. He's just trying to snuggle into my arms. But we've got big purrs. Nice. Yeah, you just want to lick my hand? Okay. Well, there he is. There's the big boy. He is perfect and precious. Hey, did you know you're perfect and precious? Still perfect and precious. Do you see yourself over there? You're so heavy. He is oozed out of my arms onto the ground. He says, hello, I am here. Now I'm not. Excuse me. I have Devo fur in my mouth now.
One cannot be too
He's so
careful.
wonderful. I have this ritual now. After I get off work, I go lay down for about an hour. I'm not like, I don't take a nap. I don't do naps. Naps are difficult for me. But I do lay down just so I can like rest a little bit after work and not be sitting at my computer and or just not being upright for a little bit. When I do that, Devo and Farley will come in and just hang out.
Different masters favor different pawns.
And we all
One
just
whom I
lay
serve
there
preferred
and cuddle
beasts
and
of the valley.
have a nice little time. And it's very cute. Because it's one of the few times that I can get both of them to just like lay next to each other with me and not like have Farley get mad that Devo exists. They adore each other, genuinely. But Devo is a lot. And Farley is incredibly patient, but sometimes he's just like, I need you to not be in my face. But during the snuggle hour, they're both just like, yeah, no, we can both be here. This is fine. Also, we got Bug. That means we gotta eat Bug. It's time to eat Bug.
Yeah, well, this.
Bug has been eaten.
Careful. Gore harpies are about.
This bow's
Ah!
I shan't let them harm you.
Well, that's a problem. my god, I thought I was gonna die. Delicious bugs. If you eat bug, you can carry more stuff. Known fact. Okay. These harpies suck, and I need them gone. Titties. Don't stand near ledge when harpies are around. We have learned. Ah! Ah! I can't see. I don't know what's happening. It was a bad time. Is it dead? It's dead. We're fine.
Together we are indomitable.
Yeah.
Would that we might always be so.
We got the
in step,
snuggle
eh?
hour with the boys, and it's very cute. Can Zell get out of my way? I'm trying to see and shoot things. Ah! Oh! Okay. Well, I need everyone to not die, first off. Let me give that to Waluigi, because he is hurting, and we don't actually technically have a healer right now, which is very upsetting to me. I do need to replace Zelda with a magic user who has healing, because not having a healer is actually the worst. That's my takeaway.
The fire must be put out ere our comrade.
I mean, I have enough, like, curatives on me at any given point that it's, like, fine, but also consider. Who's Sigurd? Who's that? Who are you? Y'all want to find out? Because I want to find out. Consider. Oh,
Huzzah!
we
What
high
a
five.
scene we make arisen.
Let's go over there instead. See who they are. Let's go meet a new friend. This is why I didn't want to leave the town, because I'm gonna get distracted and go do a bunch of other stuff when I need to, like... I need to give this man his stupid ripened fruit. Speaking of... Nope, it's still just regular fruit. Horrible. Can't believe fruit would do this. Nope, I'm making my man
Would seem
run
we
out of
need
breath.
not always travel by foot, if novel inventions such as this are to be found.
I can
Where
foresee
does-
no reason not to make use of this.
Where does this go, though? This goes back up here, which is not what I want. I want to go. Evo fur in my mouth. Thanks, Evo. I need to go across. I need to go across the chasm. What's up here?
The night sky is a balm
There's
to the
a-
battle-weary heart.
An
no
exclamation
great
point.
shock to
Is
me.
it the cart? It was the cart. The cart is destroyed now. Need to follow the path and stick to the right. Okay. Okay. The mini map is slightly different than the regular map, which is a tiny bit annoying, but what can you do? Just get lost constantly is what you can do. Be confused and unsure of everything. What is that? What are you?
Feast your eyes on this. 'Twas most effective.
Dog? Warg? It's stuck. Oh god, it is no longer stuck. I can't see what's happening. Okay, I think it's dead. Sinister Fang. Many Sinister Fang. What the fuck is that? is
I'll gather
wrinkly.
this. It might be of use.
Okay. Well, hey, we found a bad dog. And it sure was a bad dog. Can you, Boardman, please? Please. There you go. There you go, buddy. All this to go meet a new friend. Dog was a little stinky. I don't know why he was so mad at me. I'm nice, actually. Is that just... Well, that's a cliff into nothing. Don't go there. What are those? Why are they green?
They'd have learned from that last lot that we're not to be trifled with.
Why are there so many new enemies? Look, I know this is like a new area, but... Oh, they're pretty though. Spearing swing. Whoa. Okay, there's gonna be a lot of what are those from me coming up. So prepare for that. What is that? That's a goblin. I would like to not be on the bridge.
I will protect you.
Oh god, oh god. I would like to not be on the bridge because it's gonna collapse. If enough things attack the bridge, we will fall and die, and I don't want that. And I would like for Gordman to just, like, recover just a little faster. Maybe. There you go, buddy. Oh, picked up Waluigi. Down you go, pal. Party! I see you up there. Oh my god. I need the pawns to not walk into my field of view constantly when I'm trying to do an attack. That expression of pure terror haunts the countenance of the statue. The detail is exquisite, such that it seems apt to come alive at any moment. People have mentioned that there might be a Medusa around, but also... What countenance? What do you mean its expression is terrified? I see no head! Also, Zelda, you've got these huge moves, and they just obscure my vision and make it hard for me to kill a thing.
Come chasing it as well, have you? Aye. Rumors abound of the Shrine of Eld in this domain. Could be hiding all manner of priceless treasures, couldn't it?
Wait, are we near the cave that people were telling me a Medusa might hang out in? Also, I hate that we call them Medusas and not Gorgons. I know, like, Gorgon is more of a Greek thing, right? And not necessarily a just across the board mythical creature thing, right?
And if monsters happen to be guarding it, I shan't be afeared. Nay, I'll strike him down with 2
Medusa didn't do anything wrong.
That's how I plan to
I'll die on that hill.
myself, see?
Where is that man going?
Decisions.
Do we decide based...
During my travels beyond the rift, I learned of a cave named
Medusa
Kayshurrr
was
which
right.
yet to
I was gonna say,
explore.
I'm gonna die on this hill. I don't feel like I have to, like, argue that with, like, literally anyone here, so... Ow! My ankles!
Douse the flames, the port is too late.
Personally, I don't think Medusa went far enough. No. Wow, can we not? I can't see? I need to get to a rift so I can get a new party
you would
member.
gather materials here, Master. Can we really afford to
My
carry more?
goodness. It's in here. I'm coming in here. Like it's a good thing to do. Oh, what's this?
Lay down your arms.
It's true. She should have gone for the gods next. Consider. Kill them all. That is a bug. But there's a lady there. I'm scared of ladies.
Lay down your arms.
There's too many ladies. Waluigi, why were you carrying her? I don't know that that's allowed. Okay, well, while they're all doing that, while they're killing everyone, we just come over here, seal this bug, eat it real fast.
There's some great treasure.
Yeah, I'm,
Do not attack! I'm coming to your aid!
not prepared for as big a wander as we're going on. Okay. Alright, y'all can handle that. That's fine. Ah! Somebody help! The quest to deliver fruit that I've gotten incredibly sidetracked on. It was in the town that we were in! I didn't have to go anywhere! I just had to wait, and then I said, nah. Why are there so many bandits here? Oh, I'm so sorry, dear.
Another battle, with nary a moment to breathe. We must
Oh,
try to
Zelda's
find
fucking
the
dead.
strength.
Alright, we'll, fix that. Ow! Shot him right in the noggin. I didn't feel great about it. I didn't mean to shoot the deer.
I'm saved. Thank you, Arisen.
He did get mad. That other deer. An expression of pure terror haunts the countenance of the statue. Hey, I think we might be in Medusa territory. Oh, I found it!
One of us has been poisoned.
I can't see what I'm shooting. Is she just summoning snakes? I think that's illegal. Oh, that's Waluigi. Do not shoot Waluigi. Get up, bud. Get up, bud. Get up, bud. Okay, hold on. Can I give people items? Well, Waluigi's fucking dead. Great. Don't want to use up the quinces. Don't do that. Sorry, I have to make some healing items real quick. Okay, let's give... Oh, because they're gonna use them so incorrectly. Five. Let me use one of those, and Waluigi's already dead. Oh, there she is! Oh. Sorry, just... No! Don't turn me to stone!
Curatives are our best bet when we have no
The way it moves is so scary, and I love it. Stab her! Stab her!
Wherever the horrid thing travels, it leaves petrified multitudes in its wake.
If I ever wish to
Okay,
see myself in more
there we
fire
go.
and snow, building
Birdie!
fires discovered that.
Fruity
Hello!
Spruce is raiding with a party of
Woo!
four. Kaysh and the gang welcome you.
Hello, friends! Let me pause real fast. We have found a Medusa. How is it going? You were doing more XCOM files, right? How was that? How did it go? A bean for each hour streamed? Oh my god, did you really do a 5-hour stream? Holy shit. Welcome in. How are we doing, friends? That's too long! I was gonna do my normal spiel, but I'm gonna skip to the part where I say, hey, you've been streaming for a while. If you need to take a break, feel free to do so. Because that's too long. But I appreciate the raid, and I assume you'll come back. You don't have to, but I assume you will at some point. Consider. Get up and do a stretch. Eat some food if you haven't recently. Just wiggle a little bit. Just wiggle a tiny bit. But yeah. Hello, friends. Welcome in. Thanks for the raid. I hope stream was good. Well, welcome in, pals. We're playing Dragon's Dogma. It's a lot right now. Fruity, you streamed for 5 hours and need to go do and eat. Go eat some food. Go get some food, please, for me. We're playing some Dragon's Dogma. I wandered into a cave. There's a Medusa here, and now we're stabbing her in the face. It's a lot, and I'm panicking. What can you do? But how's everyone doing? Whiskey, Tom? Welcome in, pals. Let's do this. Oh boy, there she is. Oh! Oh, she's not just summoning snakes, she's fucking shooting them! Lady's got the snake arrows. Tail is pretty. Face is horrifying. It's true. I can't fucking see her. I'm just shooting into the abyss, hoping that something will hit. Maybe we'll just hit her tail. That at least makes contact. Also, what the fuck just did all that damage to her? Is she just pulling those out of her hair and then like shooting them? Cause that's a move. I mean, she might be barfing snakes and then shooting them. She's definitely using them as arrows, which is a wild move. Oh god, she's moving too much. Oh no! Oh no! I'm gonna get snacked! I don't know that actually hit because I didn't make the good critical noise that I wanted. There we go. Oh god, this is horrifying. Medusan spell bow? New item just dropped. Also, I am taking damage and I don't know from what. So let's heal real quick. Stop wiggling behind the column. Oh no. Ah, I'm gonna get turned to stone! Waluigi, don't bring them over there! Okay, she's exhausted. This gives me a chance to revive these boys. Drop them! Drop them! Okay, or don't. You know what? Fuck it. Get her! Get her! Get her! Just one more! Oh, we've done it! Let's scream, though! I had not come across one of these before. Granite Medusa Bone. Oh, look at that tail, though! Sorry, the color changing part of it is real cool. Right?
Look upon this sky for all eternity.
Cool. That's not what we're looking at, buddy. I also can't see the sky. Ah, that was cool. That was cool. Okay, I was poisoned. So let's fix that. And then let's heal up. I fucking wish I could take and wear that tail. Also, but I wish I could move her so I could see what she looks like from the front. Still real cool. But it said I got a new item. I didn't pick it up, did I? No. Who did? Waluigi did. Is that better than what I currently have? If so... No, it is not. That's tragic. Okay, let me give that back to Waluigi for now. I'll put this little circlet on, because it doesn't hide my hair. Snut. Oh, snake butt. I understand. Sorry. It took me a minute to realize
This is
what
generally used as a
we were
material.
talking about. Snut.
Different combinations of materials
Just
result in
snut.
different creations.
Is there anything else in here that I want? Maybe, possibly. Consider. Nope. Nope, everyone else is taking stuff for themselves. Alright. Cool. Can we not climb on the corpse of this lady? Monsters, the lot of them. Oh my god. Calignius depths. Uh-oh.
Can't wait to find out what's inside.
What is this noise? What was that horrible noise?
We only just pulled through the last one.
Is that just like the echo of my arrows being loosed? I think it is. Ah! Shot him out of the air. 'Cause I'm a cool kid. What are you doing?
I'll harvest
Oh.
what I can, should it please you.
I was just trying to get the leapworm skin. Hood of nonitity. Excuse? Hood that covers the wearer from crown to collar, utterly concealing their gaze and expression to aid them in the path toward non-existence. Inexistence, excuse me. I mean, it gives a lot of defense and stuff, but who would want to hide this? Snake Lady is dead. Free Jungle Gym. Horrible. Absolutely horrible. Oh wait, that's where we just came from. Okay. Okay, so this is just dead end then. Okay. Well, let's get out of here. We fought a snake lady, and that was cool. Let's not do that again anytime soon. Also, if we could find a campsite, that would be lovely. I would love to, like, heal myself and my party, because... Oh boy.
Gathering materials
No
makes
one's
for
doing
dull
great.
work indeed.
Also, am I going the right way? Yes, I am. Okay. I hear goblins. Gerblins.
I shan't allow any further harm to come to you.
Alright. The noises they make are horrible. Just a lot of... It's like, yeah, buddy, same, but, like, less. Maybe do that less.
We should be able to move this boulder with our combined might.
I say we give it a push and see what happens.
Waluigi got smooshed. Fucking wolves. Waluigi is dead again. Are you the same kind of wolves that I've met before? I know. Waluigi is dead. I will fix this. It is a red wolf. Okay. We've seen them before. Nothing new there.
Or is it? I shall see to it this does not happen again.
Fucking better not. No, it's fine. It's fine, buddy. It happens. Is the sun coming up? Yes. We have traveled through the night. Aren't we cool? Do we have... No. They're still not unripe. Are you a boar minotaur? What are you? No, you're an ogre of some sort.
Over here.
genuinely saw his shadow and panicked a little bit. Because I thought it was a second one. I was like, I would rather not deal with two of them today.
Look at it. The beast can scarce stand. A well-placed striker would have sent it a game
Ooh,
Charge!
let's do a big shoot. And I missed. But you know what? It's okay, because the man is dying, and he is dead. Look at us go. We got that ogre. Ooh, statue.
Over so soon? Why, we seem to have
Keep
come
wanting to
through
look at these and then
unscathed.
not doing that.
Well, I'm sure there's still room for improvement.
Examine that. That is quite the discovery. That's it. That's all it has to say. Oh, they do have Beastren heads though. Yeah, so there was on the main continent where you start out, all of these statues are missing their heads. It's because the Vermundians are like incredibly racist to the cat people, to the Beastrons. But people were like, "Oh, I've heard tell that like these statues used to have the faces of a Beastren on them." And surprise, they did. Because the kitties are the greatest. That's why. Y'all, I'm gonna shoot you. And I don't want to, but you're in the way. Did Waluigi just die again? No, it's Tall Mantis this time. Oh god. Don't get me, Wolf.
Take that.
Thank you. Y'all, don't go after him. That wolf just jumped off that cliff! My people need me! And then he jumped away. He said, I'm out of here. I can respect that. Alright, where am I going? Am I still going the right way? Kinda. Said, you know what? I don't want to fight these guys. And I said, you know what? That's fine. I don't want to fight you either, bud. I would like to just leave them alone if I could. But I can't. They won't let me. Because they say they must fight. Oh, there's another stupid harpy. I missed. I don't like it when they giggle at me. I think that's a little rude of them. Nice! Food. God! Welcome back, Fruity. I'm glad you have food, because food is important. We're here for a good old eat and watch. But it's important that you eat. So I'm glad you're doing that, where... Oh my god! Zelda! Is that necessary? Gotta get rid of her. Horrible.
Would that we might always be so in step, eh?
Like, I like that she has the big moves, but I hate that she uses the big moves for the little guys. She has non-big moves. And yet chooses not to do them. And it's like, ma'am, don't waste your stamina.
We would be invincible.
To fist bump Waluigi or pretend to because he is too tall. Oh god.
Another battle. With nary a
Where did
moment.
it go?
We must try to find a
No, it's trying to get me towards the ledge and I don't want to go there.
You'll not live
Oh,
to
that one's dead.
regret this.
Killed it. Ah! Never mind. Did not kill it. It recovered. It got better. Damn. She is still fine. There we go. She is no longer fine. Excuse me. I hate harpies. Oh my god, look at all the quinces around here. Sorry, I have to gather all the fruit. In case that man wants all of the fruit. I am scared about the bridge. Don't hurt Boardman! Don't! Okay, I'm very scared that this bridge is going to break. And I'm gonna get across now. It's true. Maybe if he eats more quinces, his eyesight will, like, get even better. Can his eyesight be better than 20/20? I'm so scared that, like, one of us is just gonna walk a little too fast and yeet ourselves off of the cliff. I don't want to be here. Get me out of here. Okay. Handled. Ugh.
I'll gather these
Eagle-eyed vision on the
Shame
8th
to forget
Quince.
their location when we need them most.
If only it were so easy. Like, can you imagine just fixing your eyesight that easily? Imagine. Okay, we might try and get rid of Zelda there, because I need her gone. Salubrious drop. Okay, if I do this... Can I... Oh, wait, I can't use it to find a new person, can I? Like, I can't search for someone different. It's just gonna give me a whole bunch of different options. Skinny penis! Hey, yo, it's me, your boy. Skinny penis. Oh, Caleb! I like your skirt. Skeenness. I don't... We're all sorcerers, and I need a fucking mage. Slash, all these women are naked. Except for Skinny Penis.
I happen to understand Elvish, Master. I expect you'll find
Skinny
my
Penis, do you have the... Just hate that. It's fine. She doesn't even have the move that I need. Fucking useless Skinny Penis.
A well-organized pack is my specialty. I'll see to it your burdens are shared.
Skeenness might understand Elvish, but Skeenness can't heal. I've met some people who needed to hear that. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Oh, it's short lad. You'd have picked Skeenness. Wait, Vendetta.
I have a knack for gathering items and am ever on the hunt for new finds.
I'm not trying to talk to you, Talmunus.
You can count on me to fly to your aid in your hour of need, Master.
Okay, but do you have anodyne? You do. You also have transform Argent Tonic that gradually continues to recover health for a period of time. High Palladium. High Celerity. Empyrean. None of these. It's got anodyne, but none of the others. None of the other moves are what I need. He doesn't have anodyne too, which is a shame. They're both very good. Lucy, do you have what I need?
My talents lie in combining materials, and I'll use.
No, I already checked yours. Okay. What kind of stupid name is Vendetta? Let's just pick Skinny Venus and get out of here. I would, but Skeenness doesn't have what I need. And I can't, like,
The
select
command of powerful magics is a sorcerer's privilege.
my own, like, I can't search for, like, a specific pawn either, which is, like, really annoying.
Should you?
And, like, I need Vendetta to have more than
I
just...
understand Elvish, Master. I expect you'll
I
find
don't
my
know.
talents useful.
I need healing, because I'm tired of doing it myself. Oh, we got High Levin, we got Ice Affinity, Paladin. Here's status effects. Okay. But you're like the same level as me. We might do Medwin. Because, like, no one else has what I need. You already checked Lucy, and we're back to Skeenness. Okay.
Restoration and reinforcement are the
Fire. Yes, I would like to replace Zelda.
purview of a...
You can have a fine mincemeat Roborant, I suppose.
At least
And
I
just
go
the
knowing
thumbs
I
up.
fought to the best of my ability.
Shall we
Whatever,
discuss
get out of here.
tactics now or later?
Manus, what level are you?
Leave the finding of equipment enhancing materials to me, Master.
Did not mean to talk to him.
Do forgive me, Master, but I've not learned anything useful of late.
Okay, well, it's time for you to go too, buddy. Okay.
I'm grateful to have served you for so long, Arisen.
Yeah, well, get out of here, pal. Mike.
I know precisely when a curative is needed, Master.
It's like he never left.
Let us work together.
It's got the same voice. It's LL Mike. Ooh, Mike. Let's go. New party just dropped.
I've just remembered a curious rumor I overheard once.
What do you want, Mike?
There's an illness pawns can catch beyond the rift that has devastating consequences for those around them.
Yeah, and?
Worse still, the pawn never knows they're sick. They just become restless and flippant and won't heed the Arisen.
That sounds most unpleasant. I do hope
You must cleanse yourself.
They keep talking about this pawn disease. And I have yet to, like, I don't know if that's just a thing that they're doing to freak us out, or if it's actually a thing. Y'all do it? Okay. Oh boy.
Did anyone else see that?
They're oily and diseased.
Let us ponder how best to
Oh
proceed.
no. Not the oily and diseased affliction. Yucky. Also, we're here? There's a campsite, which is nice. We will probably need to use that in a minute. Oh. Wahapa. Hold on. Why did we change resolutions? It still says full screen. Okay, it's fine now. Why did it do that? Oh no, I should have rested! Who are you?
Hail, Arisen.
Oh!
Allow me to join you in this trial.
Okay, well, I wish I had rested now. Hold on a second to change how I am sitting, because I am hurting my back by scrunching up the way that I was. Why are you here?
Really now. You mustn't shirk your duty. Lest
Okay,
you
well, before we do that, let's make
forget,
camp.
'Tis the Arisen we serve here.
Let's do elite camping. Let's look at some meat. Y'all want to see some meat? Aw, Sigurd is with us now. Let's cook this aged beefsteak. Let's look at that good meat.
I'm all for swapping stories,
Meat.
but perhaps another night. I can see my eyes open.
Great, let's rest till morning.
Surely with
This
time
way
to
all of
talk,
our health
if
will
we
be
continue on our merry way.
at full. We'll all actually be healed, and we've got some bonuses from eating meat. You're no longer vegan. Honestly, like I eat meat. I like meat, but I mostly just eat chicken. Chicken and fish is primarily what I eat. Occasionally I have some beef in there, but not often. It's usually like mixed with other things.
We must. Let us finish this quickly.
But I don't know. Looking at all the meat in this game, I've had a couple of times where I'm just like, fuck, I could really go for like a steak. Oh wait, no, those are all rotten. Nope, we're high-fiving. Okay. Don't give. Discard. Also, it's ripe now! We have a ripened quince! Wee wee wee! This just in! Ripened quince! You know what? I can actually do something. Let's do... Because I have a lot of shit I have to get rid of. Oh, can I not use this? Am I trapped here right now? Hold on. I have this port crystal. I can't use it here. Why not?
It's no more or less than
what if I come out here?
Expected.
We'll find a use for it, I'm sure.
Can I use it out here, maybe? There is like this teleport option, right? You can use a port crystal, a fairy stone to go between like port crystals and stuff. Hell yeah! Okay.
Now, no matter how far we stray, we'll be able to return.
Okay, so what we can do, since I can put that there, I can use a fairy stone to go back, and that's fairy as in to like travel, like Ferry, not as in the Fae. You know how we feel about that. We can go back to Bak Batal.
Here in a flash with the use of a fairy stone.
We can give the man his quince for his bad eyes.
We've arrived well enough. Where to next?
And then we can go back to the silly rock with the horrible diseased dragon. Also, I'm realizing there are we got a little bit of lag happening. Does it look okay on stream? Like aside from some lagging. Does it look okay? Where is man?
Have you brought me a quince?
I have brought you a quince. Here you go, sir. Looks okay to you? Cool.
Many thanks, sir.
Looks fine on stream. Perfect, okay. I just know that sometimes, like, when I start having, like, some frame issues like that, it can, like, occasionally look mosaic-y on stream. It's the only reason I'm checking. I appreciate y'all letting me know that it is fine.
At last, I may continue reading that grimoire. This could be the turning point.
Quince does contain vitamin A? Oh! Okay, maybe it is good for your eyeballs then. Just a little mosaic on this boy's head. Yeah. That's how it looks for me as well. So, hey.
Shall we follow, Master?
Welcome and well met.
Okay. Well, do you have anything new for me?
The state of things makes
I have to
rather difficult.
Okay, I have to visit him in a few days' time. Yeah, it's too dark in his stall. Has he considered more candles?
Worth our coin next time.
Browsing was enough to
Okay, while we're here,
now this hardly bears saying, but don't
let's enhance some equipment because I would like to know if this is better. Oh, I don't have any more. I need more spurious wings. Okay, cool. Cat merchant is gender. Listen, so many of the Beastren. I'm just like, fuck, if I could look like you. There is a lot of gender envy for a lot of the Beastren, honestly. Okay, we have enhanced what we can. Let's go to the the inn. Also, I think Fruity was there for it, but when we first showed up into this town, we went into an inn and they charged us like 9,999 gold to like sleep. It's this fucking guy. There's a second inn at the other side of town that only costs like 2,000. So we go to that one when we have to like, you know, do anything. They thought they could trick me. I have learned. It's fine. Bring back mullets? I mean, yeah, do it. I don't want the 1 gold discount. I want the many gold discount. Oops, didn't need to put that away. It's fine. That was unimportant. Let's put that there. I'll let Waluigi just hold on to that bow for right now. We'll take those away. Take that away. Still heavy, though. That's a Seeker's token. We can put that away. I can give one of these packs to Waluigi. And then I can sell one of these lanterns. Thank you for the lurk stars.
Do come again.
Okay. We gotta go sell some stuff. It's time to wander around, do some selling. It's just us going back and forth, selling some things.
Welcome.
Sell. The unequipped lantern. And then sell those. I need to put this newt liqueur away. Wait, no, I picked this up somewhere. Yeah, I need to put that away. I have one in my box, and I don't plan on ever drinking it. We'll sell it. I am trying to save up for a house here in Bakbatal. But it's like 300,000 gold, and do I look like I'm made of money? The answer is no. No, I do not. Get rid of the silence potion, get rid of the petrification potion, unconscious debilitation, sleep debilitation.
Well met.
Okay.
Do come again.
And then, oops. Let's do that. Let's do that. Okay, that kind of resolves some stuff. Intoxicating P-wort. I don't...
Welcome. And welcome.
Okay, I have decided I am going to sell all of that because we can get a lot of it on the road and it is only used for silly potions that I never use.
Do come again.
And then I'll come back in here and give this to Waluigi. Luigi, what are you carrying? Oh, you're already carrying one. Then Medwin can carry that for us. And now we're all at average, which is much better. Okay. So then what we'll do is... Nope, I have a Seeker's token that I have to turn in. Fuck. It's just a matter of running back and forth constantly until I have gotten rid of all the things that I don't need. Seeker's tokens are very silly, but they give you things if you turn in enough of them. Hoi!
You can change it. Well, got any finding?
I do. Oh, I get a Ring of Triumph.
Share pleasure doing business.
Great, I can sell that too. I already have the rings that I want. So we'll get rid of that. Hoi! I love the way he says that. I don't know. It's just very pleasing.
Look as long as you please.
Boy. Sell that. Okay.
Do come again.
There we go. Now that that's done, I can use this fairy stone to go to Worm's Blood Forest, because that's where we were. That's where the big dragon was. Might actually be a lesser dragon. Oh, you cannot use it. Why was that so anticlimactic? Just chucked the stone into the air and then stared at it. Can I use it here? No, I can't.
This looks as good a place as any.
I don't know what to do.
Where can I use it then? Out here? Wait, actually. Right? He just stands there and stares at it like... Why is it not doing anything? I promise, this works every other time. Also, what's in here? Jarl's home? Whee!
Oh, well.
Hi?
Aren't you a fine specimen? Might I trouble you to show me your tongue?
Excuse?
You're the very picture of health. I dare say a constitution such as yours could survive most any toxin. Have you ever crossed paths with an asp? If you have, I'm sure you'll agree that
Came back to this, to me breaking into this man's house and then him being like, can you show me your tongue? Hey, what that tongue do, boy?
Not only do they spew venom with abandon, but they're crafty enough to coat their spears with the substance.
This is Fantasy Charlie, he's a
Truly
freak.
remarkable behavior.
He's into some weird shit. And you know what? More power to him. Don't involve me, buddy. Why are we talking about asps, though?
For you. Might you be so kind as to return to me afflicted with asp venom? The opportunity to study the poison's effects on a living specimen would further my research by leaps and bounds.
Hey, you wanna go get poison for me? Thanks. I mean... Yeah, I could do that. Not now. I'm busy. I'm busy now, but... We can bring... we can bring him some weird shit. I can come back sick for him. Okay, also, now that we're here... Let's search for a pawn. Let's go to 47. The quest in Shadows over Loathing where a guy tells you to go get 8 poison. That's too much poisoned. Have you told him that's too much poisoned? Because I think that's too much poisoned. Okay, I do want to replace our current party with better people. So,
I'll
like,
carefully conserve my strength.
I know I just gave her stuff, but she... We'll put that in our box.
The day will come when...
Don't want to cross paths with you again.
A well-organized pack is my specialty.
You are in good health, I trust, Arisen?
8 is quite a lot of poison. Kind of getting silly at that point. That's what I'm saying. Would you cancel the gift? Yes.
I thank you for the chance to hone my swordsman.
I just want him out of here because he's done nothing. Giant woman. To be fair, basically everyone is giant by comparison.
Should you need to communicate
You look cool.
Elvish, pray call upon me.
She also knows Elvish. She doesn't heal, though.
I would be...
Why does no one heal? Aww. What a lovely day.
You can count on me to fly to your aid in your
Juice, you got his cancer, you get to grip it and rip it. Oh, sorry. This lad is wearing a very lovely bustier. That sounds delightful, though. It's been very hot here. Love hanging out and chat with my friend Stars. Stars is delightful. You are delightful. All my friends are delightful. Hey, friends, did you know? Y'all are delightful. He also doesn't have This is a shame, because look at this fashion! No healing, though. Okay, you know what? Let's... Xena.
I see you recognize my worth, Arisen. I suppose I should consider myself honored to serve.
Let's... Sorry, it's gonna take me a minute. Username, Goofy Claw! They do have some very silly names in here. Can I search my weapon skill? Yes. Which one of these? I only know the name, like, I only know the heal name as Anodyne. Hold on, I need to grab my phone so I can, like, look up what the fuck spell that falls under. Okay, that might just be... I don't see it listed, and that's a problem. That's a problem for me specifically. Yeah, but what's... Everyone's like, for things outside of healing? I know you're asking for healing things. They're all called Anodyne. Why is it not listed here? Am I a fool? What? Ugh. Like... It says that it's specifically for mages. So, fine. We'll get rid of Sorcerer. Pretty sure I've had a Sorcerer who's known it before, but whatever. Flagration, Palladium, Trigger, Lightning Boon, Empyrean, Argentonic, Spellhold, Solemnity, Celerity, Halidom, Ice Boon, Fire Boon, Levin. Halidom is healing statuses. Sorry, this is, like, really annoying. Yeah, I also think I should be able to, like, say to the game, find me someone who can heal me. And it's being a little annoying, but that's not the case. I don't think it's because it's a core skill. Which, even if that's the case, that's really annoying that I can't look up specifically based on, like... I just want to find a healer. Okay, whatever. We'll stick with mage since mages are apparently the only one that have heals. We'll go with a level 47, and then I'll just cycle through them that way. I'm a little annoyed that that's the case. My God, Abby. But you know, sometimes it be that way. I like your hair. Raphael!
You can count on me to fly to your aid in your hour of need, Master.
It's also got a
Knowing
boost
when
the
to use
ale.
curatives is my speciality.
You say that, but do you have anodyne? You do! And Frigger and Fire Sucker. Oh, right. Heals over time. Okay. You know what? I'm tired of being in here, Raphael, so you win. That's really annoying. Okay. Oops. Fighter and warrior, because I don't care which one. I need a lad that does the big hits. I say lad. It can be a lady. It can be someone in between or not any of those. I want someone tall, though. Oh! Phoenix.
Should you need to communicate in
he's got tiny glasses on! It's him.
Ah, good. I see
He's got silly little tiny glasses. Okay.
I know of nothing that demands your immediate notice.
Let's go. We have our team. Let's get out of here. Alright. Can I use my fairy stone? Ah, it's glowing. That means it's working. Yeah, has Phoenix considered eating more quints? Specifically ripened quints?
Once we've grown tired from our labors.
Okay, yeah, Sigurd is here. Oh boy. Alright. Let's go. Are you just breaking stuff over there for no reason? Because I don't like that. Also, what is this? What is this? That's a rotten fig. We don't want that. Chest.
'Tis a strange sort that ventures willingly into darkness.
I'll go over here. How do I go up? Another chest. Well, I'll be
freshly rested as we are. This
What's
battle ought
happening?
to be in our favor.
Try not to get hit, lest all that vim go to waste.
Let my magic imbue your weapon with the
I
fury of the
can't do
elements.
anything from this
It's too
distance.
late.
Whee! So this guy, Sigurd, is the one who taught me how to be the very funny polearm guy. And it was a fun class. Would recommend. I just got tired of my teammates not knowing what they were doing as far as distance fighting was concerned, which is why we've gone back to being an archer. Plus, I do have fun being an archer. How do we go up? That's a breakable. So dusty! And it is dark enough that I should probably, like, have a lantern lit.
A battle avoided is a battle won, I suppose.
Yeah, look. Waluigi was doing an alright job. I say alright. He was doing a great job, but he just wasn't doing quite what he could have been doing. And so it's like, well, I'll let him be a thief and climb all over everything while I do the heavy lifting with a bow. And that's what happened there. This is not going up. Actually, it is, I think. Also chest. I got a fairy stone. We have replaced half of what we have used. Oh god. I'm sliding down a hill. I don't want to be here. Please, no! Okay. Everyone else can deal with this. I run. Just, take care of that. We all good? Everyone good? Handled? Solved?
That was well fought.
Never mind, I can't get there from here.
That was thrilling. I did not know.
How do I get there?
So alive.
Or is that how I got in? How do I go up? Why is this being such a problem for me? How do I go up? Uppies. Oh no. It's me almost throwing myself off a ledge. It's fine.
Perhaps this will seem of little consequence, but looking around, it strikes me that we pawns are all men.
It just worked out that way.
I wonder if this speaks to the Arisen's preference.
It just worked out that way.
I shouldn't at all mind if that were to change.
Waluigi, what do you mean? Waluigi, what do you mean? How do I get up there? It's true. All of the ladies didn't have clothes on. And, like, I do hold that against them a bit. Skeenis did have clothes on, but Skeenis also didn't know how to heal. And that's a problem for me. What is this growling noise? Why is it echoing down here? How do I go up? Ah! I know you need to not go down to
I've
go
just had a
up.
thought. Have you always pursued your current vocation over the course of your journey with the Arisen?
I found it. I found the stairs.
No. I was previously an archer. For a time, it was odd not to feel the weight of a bow and quiver on my back.
Okay. Break that. What is growling around here? Is that just the dragon outside, or is there something else? Because if it's something else, I'm scared. An anthema? What is that? Oh! A staff. Neat. Over here. Worm's life crystal. Did the dragon go away?
Poor harpies. Keep out of reach of their talons.
Ouch.
Fire's fury shan't be of aid against this foe. What has
Ouch.
stricken you, Arisen?
Everything has.
Let my magic grant you an elemental food.
Okay. I have been healed. We'll just knock him out of the air. Where'd the other one go? Gotta high five Waluigi. It's very important to high five Waluigi any chance you get. There's so many goodies around here. No! No! That was mine! What is that? Is that a shield? Yeah. None of us can use that. Alright, up we go. Actually, is there anything here? Gotta look around
Water
for
is nigh
goodies.
invisible in this gloom. No few times has an overconfident step soaked my boats.
Griffin pinion.
I dare say that's part and parcel of the adventurer's trade.
Okay. Now we go up. Hello? Big boys.
As planned.
I'll give Raphael high five. With that sense of fashion, he deserves that. High five. Okay. Up, 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 up. Why does it sound like there's water? Ah! Found it! Found dragon! Dragon is oozy. That is definitely a lesser dragon. Oh god. Get him in the nodules! Ah! Fuck! Oh, I just barely dodged that. Also, I'm doing that thing where I'm like leaning in and therefore just like ruining my posture. It's the pustulous dragon, but also he's getting absolutely wrecked. Whew. That dragon is wrong. That dragon ain't right. Heck. What is dragon doing? Already gotten him down by like half his health. His pustules are back. Yeah, that shit is toxic. And it's gross. He's just oozing. Why he ooze?
I hope you weren't expecting mercy.
No, ooze. Oh!
Waste this chance. We must press home our advantage.
The moment of victory is at hand. Let us finish this. Of course.
Where is he going? What is he doing?
We can afford to rush headlong into battle. Let us watch our foe carefully to determine our best strategy here. It's a simple-minded creature by all appearances.
Oh, Phoenix, don't let go. I don't want you to die, bud.
It's easily done.
Oh, he's so high up. Okay, it's fine. He's down here now. I was so scared he was gonna, like, fall off the ledge and just fucking die. There's still the very strong possibility it's gonna happen. Ah! Phoenix, no!
Let my magic be your weapon.
Oh my god!
For a moment, I thought I'd met my end.
Come on, come on. There we go! He is taken down. Dragon Scale, Worm's Life Crystal.
On this occasion.
And I got crystals for a man. Why is it so oozy?
We ought to keep watch, lest we be set upon from behind.
Pray, speak up should you notice aught amiss.
It's so oozy. Don't like how hands its feet are. I mean, that's lizards. That's just lizards. It's got hands for feet and hands for hands. cool boy. Governing soul. What is that? Hold on. Oh, okay. Just cast Taladum. Boring. Is there anything else up here? Does not look like it. Still leaking. Why is he leaking? How much fluid did you have in you? Also, where's Sigurd? Where did he go? Where are you going? Just get down there, bud.
Have you forgotten something?
We flop.
Arisen? You're looking rather lost.
No,
An
I'm
obstacle
just...
blocks our way. Perhaps we might remove it by force?
Listen.
If you need that destroyed, I'm your pawn. Shall I assist?
Punching syrup. Sorry, I'm just unlocking parts of the map and also looking for treasure. Okay, and then we go down. Let's go all the way down. It's Gudra. It's Gudra. Is what we're coming to terms with. This dragon is just Gudra. This it break. Where is our friend? Where did friend go? We had a man with us, and now he is gone. Gudra is a dragon type. It's true. I love Gudra. Gudra is one of my favorites.
Through your belongings, Master.
He's one of my favorite Pokemans. Okay. Can't combine anything.
Edible. I'll gladly lessen your burden.
Of course he would, Waluigi. Yeah, absolute dingus. Where is Sigurd? Wow, friend, guy.
This seems a decent spot for a campsite.
Well, he's just not here anymore. Grace. That's Luz. Oh, Sigurd is back in Harv. Okay. I don't know who this is.
Resting when and where you can is the secret to weathering a long journey.
Don't imagine I'll want to come back here anytime soon, so we'll just go ahead and pick up that port crystal and take it with us. In case I want to put it down somewhere else. Alright. Look at us go. Is there something up there? Hold on. It says there's something up there. But what? Got that little exclamation point that's like, pay attention! Look! I don't know that I can, like, get up there, though. Maybe I can, actually. Oh! Alright. What's here? I need them to get out of my way. Is oh god. Well? Oh, I see it. Oh, there's a secret token there. So at some point, I'm gonna have to become a sorcerer and use the levitate skill to get places like that. So I can get items like that. Because at this moment, there's not really anything I can do to get up there. This is too steep to climb. I think this is too steep as well.
Allow me. Wait right there.
Actually. I can get there from here. There have definitely been a few that, like, I've tried to be... Oh god. There's been a few that I've tried to be sneaky like that to get to it.
Now here's a surprise.
And have not been able
At least
to.
all our efforts weren't for
And we'll
naught.
definitely need the levitate spell in order to do
I shall
that.
have to inform my own master of this.
But I'm glad I got this one. Now I really don't have to come back here, probably. Alright. Let's go, team. And now... it's a matter of just trying to get to the blacksmith. That's what we started out doing, and then I got horribly distracted, because that's what I do in this game, and I love it for that. It's very easy to set off on one quest, and then, like, get sidetracked by, like, 5 others. And that's a lot of fun. Like, actually, I enjoy it. And there's always so much to do when you're out on the road, even when, like, even if you don't have a quest in mind, if you just go out and wander, you will find something to do. And that's really exciting. It's just the one red wolf, actually. Not a pack. Just the one.
Naught compares to the thrill of victory. One cannot help but feel indomitable.
We mustn't allow ourselves to become complacent.
This, but what if
Take each trial
I
as it comes.
just walk down this hill?
Would you care to behold a forgotten rift stone, as yet undiscovered in this world?
Ah!
Then follow me.
It's fine.
It isn't far.
Okay, how do I get down gently now? I don't. No, I do. Not even a problem. Just do as I do.
Sun's light has grown dim.
Alright. Would like... Ooh. Like to pick that up.
We have
Please.
found a material.
Okay.
Different combinations of materials result in different creations.
I know. I know, Phoenix. I've played this game for a little bit. I am familiar with crafting. Oh, I know. Can I go up here? Yes, but doesn't do anything. Whee! Okay. Oh god, there's gonna be a lot of backtracking, huh? How do we get up there? There. This very convenient
I grant you roaring flames.
step looking, please. There we go. Well, thanks for the flames, but I just want this chest. Ooh, Wakestone Shard. A number of people have died during my watch, so probably for the best. This is not doing anything. Is he gonna fall? Do it! Do it! Oh, that's so cool!
I shall have to inform my own master.
Well, well. Color me surprised.
I didn't know they could do that! Sorry, I got so excited I breathed wrong. I've probably, like, waited too long to be able to cross them. Woo! Yeah, I waited too long. That's still really neat, though! Ah!
Glad to see you have the matter in hand.
Ooh! Cyclops is angry. tried jumping out of the way and it was not working. Can I not be where he's gonna constantly jump on my head? Seems like that may not be possible. He's wiggling too much. He's just wiggling side to side. I can't get to him. Okay, come on. Oh my goodness. Come on. There we go. That's better. Yeah, I think there's too many spots we could be on for him to like fully understand what's going on.
Our foe stumbled. Just one more push ought to bring it down.
The moment of victory is at hand. Let us finish.
Oh, he just banged his little head on the rocks. Waluigi? Oh. Well, I was hoping to collect items off his body, but at least I got the experience. I do like confounding the large enemies by being in like tight spaces like that, because they just get very confused. He slurped off the edge. He did. He went slurp. And it was very funny, if you ask me. What's this? What's here? What doing? What's that? What? What is that? I assume this is one of the new emotes you have gotten from this person you don't know. Why do they have such good emotes? Please. Please. I know we're a short boy, but you can grab that, Gordman. There you go, buddy. Is that a sausage? Don't know who this streamer is. Well, whoever they are, got good emotes. Is that a bean or is it a sausage? I assumed a sausage.
Do
What's going on
take
here?
care. This world is rife with danger.
It's a bean! Oh, I liked it better when it was a sausage. It's still very good.
I require some assistance. Perhaps you would oblige.
Oh, big stretch. Everything's popping. Oh my god. Okay. Bound for a destination far afield. I would like to request. I do wish, like, I don't mind that these, like, random quests you find on the side of the road have, like, text for them. I do wish that they would tell you where they're going before you, like, agree to it. That's so far away and very much in the in the wrong direction. This one, you got randomly subbed to that guy who had an "It's fine" emote. That was a very good, very powerful emote. Do we remember who did that? Like whose channel that was from? Well, let's go this way. You know what? This person wants to go to the...
This is clearly designed to carry us somewhere.
Yeah,
It could
bud.
prove useful.
Yeah, Phoenix, it's true.
I can foresee no reason not to make use of this.
Was it Snipe and Web? I mean... Was it? Okay, we gotta get everyone on here. Come on, everyone. To me. You have to get further on. You're confounding the pawns. Yeah. Okay. Slash, where did our mage go? Where's Raphael? Excuse me, I just pushed this lady on here. Okay. Oh! Raphael is fucking dead. Okay. That's a problem. For me, specifically. He must have fallen off the cliff or something. It's tragic. I guess fashion can't save you from dying. Despite what some may say. Here, can someone else do this? I saw harpies and I want to be ready to attack them if need be. Oh, and it's the ones that have the feathers that I need. Ouch.
We may not die in battle. It's a far cry
Well,
from being invincible.
Lady just fell. Fuck off! Okay. I'm just very scared that this is gonna break and we're gonna die. She's doing a chomp on me! Someone help! Do something! Why did they just stand there? Well, it happened. We all fucking fell and died, and I can't heal! Yes, use a wake stone. Annoyed. Oh god. Oh, it's bad here. Oh, it's bad here! It's very bad here. Sorry, let me just cough directly into the mic. Oh my god. Heal, 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 heal!
As planned.
Okay, the lady I was supposed to escort, did she die? Is she dead? Ops.
Traveling beyond the rift, I came upon a cave whose secrets you
Where
have
is
yet to
she?
discover. It is nearby. Shall I lead the way?
Well, it says she's here. She's the little, like, yellow dot on my map. So where is she? Oh, I found her. Okay, well. That was fun. I definitely was not involved in any of that. Stupid. So dumb. Okay, I need to follow the left path this time. Thank you, Stars, for reminding everyone. Are we really, like, under 2K away? Oh, JK, we're there. Thank you, Ferdy, for the contribution. And finishing out the community challenge for the gummy hunts. That is probably what we'll do next stream. So that's cool and fun. Are y'all excited? It's gonna be more Dragon's Dogma. It's gonna be a Dragon's Dogma that I'm a little more familiar with, though. It has been ages since I've played the first one, though. So it'll still be, like, not new, but definitely, you know, it'll be fresh in some ways. Okay, look, there are too many creatures in this very narrow path. We'll be able to make horrible monsters. I don't think I've ever made a Waluigi in Dragon's Dogma 1. So we can... Ooh. We can make a Waluigi. And that's exciting. That is if we want to. And... What are you doing, Phoenix? Hey, bud. And we can do all sorts of other very silly nonsense things. I need these fucking ghosts to go away. It is the brand. It is true. We do... That is just kind of what we do here. What's that? Oh, it's a lich. Okay. Well... This is being significantly harder than it needs to be because we don't have a fucking mage! Ouch! This is too many enemies and I need them to go away. Tell them to leave me and my friends alone because I really hate everything they say. Blah. Oh my god. This guy just keeps summoning skeletons, huh? Okay, that's the ghost dealt with. Now for this fucking guy. Took me a while to recover there. Stop! Stop wiggling around! I do, like, no damage to him. Oh. Oh, oh, Phoenix, no! Phoenix, no! Okay, okay, okay.
I shall see to it this does not happen again.
What's happening up there? Okay, hold on. We need to do this. And then... I don't really need that, but... that to him. Give that to him. Give Waluigi a couple of those. Give Fenix a couple of those. I'll eat a couple of those. Ooh.
Hard enough. We might not have to do this twice. The moment of victory is at hand. Let us finish this.
Okay. Man, I have other things. I have other more important things to deal with than you. Have you not noticed the flying skeleton? Oh my god! I can't deal with skeleton mage and bandits at the same time. Does not work this way. Sir! Okay, where is he? Like, for real! We got the Grim Reaper over here doing some silly nonsense. I think the last thing either of us should be worried about is you mugging me. Get him, Waluigi! Fuck him up! Oh god. Oh god. We're almost there, though. I don't know what that's doing. I don't know what that's doing. I don't know what that's doing. Oh! He's dead. Ah!
All might have been lost in the throes of battle, yet we put up a brave fight, and here we stand.
But yeah, good job everyone getting the community challenge fully funded. Sorry, I would have been a little more fully invested in that had I not had a fucking flying skeleton trying to ruin my day. Yeah, next time we stream, that's what we'll do, and that is probably what we'll do through to my excuse me. Oh, hello.
Can't say I'm any happier to see this foe.
Until I have to disappear for a little bit for surgery. I did have to prioritize not dying, and I do appreciate y'all understanding that. It was important to not die. I will probably like sprinkle in some Sly streams in there just so I'm not like fully over in excuse me, overworking myself as far as like Dragon's Dogma is concerned. Because as much as I'm like enjoying this one, I also don't want to necessarily like burn myself out on Dragon's Dogma as a whole. I don't think that's going to be an issue. Who's talking? Okay. But it'll mostly just be Dragon's Dogma from here on out, probably. Because Gummy Hunt's a nice way to kind of like have something to do on stream, but not necessarily be like, I don't know. It's I like them because they're easy to do.
Who's there?
Who's laughing up here?
Turn out your
As planned.
Ma'am, you have arrows in you. You have to be dead now. There is a harpy outside. Have to get deep insight into people's heads like a therapist. It's true. I'm just like a therapist. Like, I'm gonna tell my therapist that tomorrow, and he's gonna be like, about that. Oh, Fenix, please be careful. Fenix, please be careful. You are precariously close to that ledge. It is true. Therapy is them just looking into your eye holes. Can confirm. Look, I've been doing it for like 2, almost 3 years now. That's exactly what it's like. Oop, not there. How do we get out of here? There we go. That's how we get out of here. And then we go down this way. Also, just as a general thing, we'll probably call stream soon. We've been here for almost 2 hours, and I've been talking a lot. Not just for a stream, but just in general today. My god. I have said so many words. I genuinely, like, I don't talk that much in a single day, ever, let alone at work. I had to drink so much water, and I kept, like, stopping and, like, having to, like, excuse myself while I, like, coughed. I mean, like, I just cough all the time anyway, but, like, my throat was so dry, and I was just saying so many words that I was like, you have to give me a minute so I can just, like, recover. I don't know what this life is. Can't imagine talking all of the time anymore. Horrible. Give me that ripened fig, I guess. Again, I would like to get across this bridge before it explodes. I see that bug! Bug. Also, what's this? Ahead lies the Agamemnon Mountain of Fire. Let not the unwary tread upon its shadow. Okay, well, leave me alone. I found a bug. There we go. Sea bug? Eat bug. It's true, I did do a many. Nah, it was good. It went super well. I'm very happy with, like, how everything is going, especially with as little, like, prep time as I've had for all of it. Today was the first day officially of me training folks. And it went well. I mean, it went as well as I think it did for, like, a first day. But we'll see. That's more or less all I'm gonna be doing for at least the next couple of weeks. Likely the next month. More or less, like, until now, like, between now and, like, when I take my break for surgery and stuff. I am really proud. I'm, like, I don't know, like, I'm usually feel pretty dang good about the kind of work that I do. Not always been the case in, like, other aspects of my life, but I've always felt really solid in like, my work ethic. And it's just cool to, like, have a company that, like, recognizes that as well. Because, you know, that doesn't happen much, if ever, in most situations. And it's been nice, and I'm excited to be able to, like, keep doing stuff. And yeah, I don't know what I'm, like, generally saying, but it's just it's good.
Begins again.
I don't
and I'm happy and I'm
begging
proud.
for a
So
reprieve would
get as far with one of
Yeah.
its lots.
No quarrel.
Chickens. I think these are bandits, but I'm not entirely sure, and I have just sort of shown up and started, like, breaking their shit and killing them. And I feel like that makes me the bad guy, but I don't know that that's possible, because it's Gordman we're talking about. Gordman's not a bad guy. Ow!
Halt, I say!
You'll not live to regret this.
Okay. I should probably heal up. Forget that I don't have a healer again, and that's very upsetting to me. I want a healer. Okay, let me eat that. Discard. So much trash in my pockets. Ah!
Do you mean to leave us here?
Well, you're the one who's not keeping up. Have you considered? Keep up.
Boy, hand over all the coin in your purse now. When I get my hands on you.
I thought he just fully jumped off that cliff.
Boy!
Well, he's kind of done that now.
When I get my hands on you.
Let's, let me surprise him.
Now there's a
Fenix, he missed.
I've never seen my own master attempt such a feat.
Well, well. Come.
Why is he so sad? Yeah, game said it was an oi, but it did kind of sound like a hoy!
I shall see to it this doesn't.
Also, our poor friend here is not doing well, so let me give him that. Also, I heard a monster? And I'm not sure where. Oh, did somebody just shoot at me? Yeah, someone did. Right in the noggin! Hello? Who's roaring up here? I just want to get to, like, the next checkpoint. Or, like, the next place that I can, like, consider a checkpoint before calling it. Where are my friends? Where have they gone? Why aren't my friends here?
Your eyes on this.
The Cyclops is doing the one thing that I'm weak to, and that's hiding behind trees. There's another one over there? Why are these bandits keeping Cyclopses around? For why? Fenix, what is the problem, bud? Fuck. Well. Another Beastren statue up there. Just, come over this way. Come here. Turn around. Oh, I broke off one of his tusks. Poor guy. Oh, and I shot him in the eyeball. Poor boy. I don't feel that bad. be in my party? Probably not who I need, but like, you're a mage of some sort. Alright, buddy, come on. There we go. You're not only doing all those horrible things to the lab, but you're also being really sarcastic about it to his face. I mean, yeah.
It's a painful reminder that fortune
And?
will not always favour us. You're well fond of picking things up.
Master,
you...
I vow to weigh my every...
I have the things that I need, buddy.
Word before...
We'll hire you anyway, because I do just need... Did you just pick up a beetle? Waluigi, did you just pick up a beetle? Who just picked up a beetle? Wallace! You're already on my shit list, Wallace. You just stole my beetle. Not okay with that, buddy. Those are mine! Is that a griffin over there? Yeah. Oh god. Okay, well there is a camp here. So that's exciting. We ate bug. Let's make camp. We'll use the sand patterned one because that should keep me from getting attacked overnight. Stink. Use that before it goes bad. Always bug. Look at that. Look at that meat. Meat!
What say we get some
Hi,
rest?
Salvia!
I'm not sure I can face a trek with my belly so full.
Look,
I quite
it's
agree.
meat!
Best we recuperate our strength.
Also, I'm sorry.
before we set off again.
I'm so washed out right now. There we go. That's better. Welcome. You're just in time for us to end. Yeah, hey, you want some meat? We got some meat! And it's pretty great. You know what? Hold on. No, that's still very far away. I'm curious as to why there's no road here. Hold on. We are going to press ahead a little bit because I want to know what the fuck is going on in here.
Isn't much of an adventure if all we do is make camp.
Isn't much of an
It's well to be
adventure.
prepared, but over preparation will serve us
But yeah,
not.
how are you doing? How's it going, friends? Also, am I a fool? And can I actually... No, I can't. Okay. Streaks.
My talents lie in combining materials, and I'll use
I
those
don't
in my
have
possession
enough. Somebody made a tiger link. I can't afford them. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, leave the rift.
Ingredients
Okay.
are plentiful hereabouts.
I say we collect as much as we can carry.
What's in here?
Oi! You're not planning on going in there, are you?
I do plan on going there. You're okay? You're feeling like a worm today because you're getting sick? Oh no! I'm sorry that you're getting sick, but you know what? It's okay to take a day to rest. I hope that you're able to get some good rest and that makes that you get over the sickness very quickly because it's not fun being sick. I'm sorry you're not feeling well.
You're better off turning back.
Aww.
That cavern is not for mortal feet to tread.
Leaning on my desk in a horrible way that's hurting my elbows. You will take many rests in Baldur's Gate. You know what? That's acceptable. You know what? That's acceptable.
'Tis a maze, with monsters round every wretched corner.
We're here for
I
that.
dare say none could pass through those tunnels and live to tell the tale.
Fucking watch me,
Crying
Hillary!
soldiers.
I'm not gonna take
Who's the
advice
mountain
from a
of
lady
compassion
named
and rage?
Hillary.
I'd thought this my chance.
No
to
offense
make some
to
decent
anyone
coin.
if your name is Hillary. I'm not gonna take advice from this Hillary, though. Get out of here.
This obstacle
But if this place is a giant maze, we probably will not get through here. Because that's gonna take
Won't do much good
a long time.
Best to try and...
She wasn't funny, she wasn't hilarious. There was no mirth or whimsy in anything she had to say. I don't trust her. You hate when fantasy media uses regular ass names. Yeah, it was Hillary with an IE too. My least favorite is when they just like take a regular ass name and then just make the letters be weird.
Take a moment to recover.
You love Dune, but Paul? Jessica? It is very silly. It's like you just ran out of ideas, huh? You just stopped wanting to make up new names, huh? Tom. What have you named your fantasy characters, Tom? It's specifically in regards to like fantasy stuff where it's like, oh yes, this here we have I can't even, I'm like blanking on all these silly fantasy names now. Yeah, it's I hate the fact that you're bringing up Kingdom Hearts here, but I will take silly names where it's like a regular name but like changed to be something silly, like Fantasy Craig, aka Breg.
This boulder looks mighty heavy.
The giant sandworm, his name is
Just
Jonathan.
combine
Jimathan.
our efforts.
Couldn't think of another off the top. It's fine. Just needed to point it out that I saw that. I saw that and I'm offended by that. But you know what? That's okay. We can't all think of cool names on the fly. Oh god.
No sense letting the enemy gain the upper hand. Early Griffin gets the worm.
Waluigi! Get out of there! You've been oiled! You've been fired! Okay, it's dead now, though. Jimathan. I'd use Jimathan as a name. Maybe that'll be my next D&D character's name. Jimathan. That being said, I did have a D&D character. My halfling barbarian, Dasla, had a companion whose name was just Thomas. But we love Thomas, so what of it? Who are you? Oh, you're a pawn. Okay. Then I don't care. Ooh, why are they crispy? Have to climb the dark mountain to talk to the shadow wizard, David. Yeah, he was oiled. He was oiled. After speaking with the shadow wizard, Davis, you must then go through
I enjoy tackling fierce foes and
Why are you talking to me, Waluigi? There are some who call him Tim. Oh no! Not Tim the evil wizard!
I was hoping for.
Did I just walk in a circle? Hillary? Fuck off! Okay. This is gonna be a future me problem. Because I am definitely not paying attention enough to be able to, like, actually navigate my way through here, which is, like, fine. Thomas is an acceptable spelling, I decided. I'd accept Thomas. The way that you're spelling it, T'_AUGHMAHS. But that's because you can just, like, put emphasis on the T, and, like, surprise, there's a weird elf name. Thomas. But I don't want my evil wizard to be named David. I don't want my evil wizard to be named Tim, despite the fact that Tim is unequivocally the most evil name that a person can have. No, that's slander. I do not love the elves. The elves are fey. Go away, lady! I didn't talk to you! What is... Kayshurrr. Oh, let me save and get out of here. I can't navigate this stupid maze right now. Too busy laughing at dumb fantasy names. The first couple of characters we did meet in this game were named things like Neil and like, oh god, what was the other one? It was like Patrick, but it was spelled with like 2 L's and 2 K's, and it's like, just tell me you got bored. Just tell me you ran out of ideas. Fruity. These are horrible, and I need to like bring them up on this screen so that everyone can see them. It is true. The dev pawns are all like Jim, and Jim is a lady. Woohoo! What a time. Yeah, that's all we're gonna do today. That's some more silly Dragon's Dogma. I like this game, and it's very fun, but it's also easy to like, I don't know, I find that it's very easy to chat while playing Dragon's Dogma, which is like all I have like really wanted to do over like the last little bit. Is to just chat while we play a silly game. Still very washed out, but no matter what I do, it's gonna be bad. The lighting is just gonna be bad, and we're just gonna have to deal with it. Next time, whenever it is that I stream, probably Wednesday, possibly some other day. We'll see how it goes. Regardless, the next stream that we do, we will start the gummy hunt. Like I said, that's probably mostly what we're gonna do between now and when I go on hiatus for recovery, for surgery recovery. And we'll sprinkle in some Sly in there somewhere, because otherwise that's gonna be a shit ton of Dragon's Dogma. But I'm excited to do that. Thank you everyone for being here and hanging out. Are we gonna listen to Gummy Bear on Endless Loop? I think I would explode after the first, not even like the first full play of the Gummy Bear song. So I can't promise that. Also, sorry, I don't know what my computer is doing. Dragon's Dogma is having a heck of a time with me trying to pull up a different window. I've done it now. We're fine. Let's see who is on so we can raid. Oh god, so many people. Okay, we've got, like, everyone is doing, like, Final Fantasy in some form or the other. No, only, like, 3 people are doing Final Fantasy in some form or the other. Let's see, we've got The Real V doing some Ultra Kill. Dot is doing some retro games, as per usual. Nimbly's doing some Baldur's Gate. And Shu is doing Sucker for Love. What do y'all want? You want chaotic Chew dating sim energy? I really like the Sucker for Love. It is very silly, and it sounds like that's what we're leaning towards. So let's do that. If you're gonna raid with us, here are our raid messages. First one is for everyone. It's got global emotes on it. Second one has... Sorry, I was trying to get the stream to be quiet. Second one has sub emotes, so if you're subscribed to the channel, you can use those. We're gonna go say hi to our good friend Hugh Chu, who is an absolute chaotic delight. They are playing Sucker for Love. We're trying to date a Cthulhu here. It's Lynetta, who is the octopus of our affection. Yeah, we'll, like I said, next time we stream, whenever that is, will be, some gummy hunting. It is weird the way that we have to get gummies in Dragon's Dogma, 1, so y'all will have to bear with while we wiggle that around, but it'll be exciting, it'll be fun, we love some gummies here. Until then, take care of your dang selves. I love y'all. We'll see you next time. Bye, pals.